Hello there, I'm the Star Wars guy. With the Season 7 of Clone Wars releasing less than a week from the time I'm recording this, I thought it'd be helpful to break down, analyze, and discuss various story arcs from what I consider to be the most important episodes from the previous 6 seasons of Clone Wars. And today we're looking at the second episode in a 4-episode arc, and that's Season 2, Episode 6, entitled Weapons Factory. Now the moral quote for this episode is, "No gift is more precious than trust." And Weapons Factory tackles such major themes as trust and teamwork. This episode picks up right where Landing at Point Rain left off. Now, as a quick overview of what happens in this episode, Jedi Master Luminara Unduli and Anakin Skywalker act as decoys to divert Separatist super tanks, while Padawans Barriss Offee and Ahsoka Tano attempt to destroy a Separatist weapons factory, hence the title. The notable characters in this episode are Jedi Master Luminara Unduli. Luminara is a Jedi Master who sits on the Council, and we see her frequently throughout the Clone Wars. Her Padawan Barriss Offee, who is very buttoned up and by the book. She's also famous for one of the final story arcs in the Clone Wars, but we'll be getting to that much later. CC-1004 Commander Gree. He's the leader of the 41st Elite Corps. Gree is Luminara's commander in the same way that Cody is Obi-Wan's. Now, I was surprised to learn we've actually seen Gree before, in this scene. Poor guy just happened to be with one of the most powerful Jedi of all time when Order 66 was given. He didn't stand a chance. And like most Clone Wars episodes, we have Anakin and Ahsoka. This episode had several noteworthy moments. First up, interrupting Ahsoka. Ahsoka is super upset when Anakin just keeps interrupting her while she's trying to give her tactical speech. She feels Anakin won't release control to her because he doesn't trust her. He says that's not what it is, but she still feels that way. Hence, the tie-in with the moral quote for this episode. Turning the tide with a super tank. Towards the end of the episode, Barriss and Ahsoka are pinned down by a super tank. However, Barriss ends up getting inside of that super tank and taking control, thus saving Ahsoka's life and enabling them to complete their mission. Bombing the bridge. This is yet another example of Anakin's ability to improvise, as he's quick on his feet in thinking of a way to get rid of the tanks for good. This also seems to show an astounding level of upper body strength in both Anakin and Luminara. And finally, waiting for rescue. This is a great Ahsoka moment at the end of the episode. We get to see her improvise a communication device out of scrap. Clearly, she takes after her master, and it pays off because they find them and save their lives. Now, I noticed a few really great quotes in this episode, like this exchange inside the super tank near the end of the episode between Barriss and Ahsoka.
Whatever you're doing, I hope it works, because I'd sure rather have died fighting up there than starve to death down here.
Don't worry. We'll run out of air long before we starve.
That's a comforting thought.
And also this exchange between Lumi and Sky Guy.
That looks like a lot of droids.
Well, it is a droid factory.
As long as we can destroy them faster than they can make them, we'll come out on top.
I love your simple logic, Skywalker.
Some special notes I made on this episode were, I noticed how Luminara is very quick to believe her Padawan is gone for good when Ahsoka and Barriss get buried in the tank. This shows the cold lack of emotion that the Jedi are famous for. They tout this quality as if it's a positive, but it's really one of the biggest reasons Anakin falls to the dark side and ultimately leads to the downfall of the Jedi Order. I guess you could say that's
ironic.
Luckily, Anakin is not so quick to give up on them, which turns out to be the right call because they are very much alive and very much waiting for rescue. Lumi tries to justify her stance by saying she's simply ready to let her Padawan go when the time comes, but this feels hollow to me because she gave up almost immediately. And this moment actually kind of makes me dislike Luminara in general. Another thing I noted, it's funny to me that the Separatists are constantly trying to make a new super weapon, and they never work out. This episode is another great example of this with the brand new super tanks. They're literally created in this episode, unveiled for the first time, and defeated before the episode's over. And finally, to me, this is a good episode, but probably the weakest of the 4 in this story arc. I still really like it, because I'm predisposed to love all Star Wars all the time, of course, but I feel like the other 3 are simply stronger and better episodes than Weapons Factory. To remind you of the moral quote, no gift is more precious than trust, and we learn this moral consistently throughout this episode. Anakin and Luminara had to trust their Padawans to complete their side of the mission. Ahsoka and Barriss had to trust each other to get out of trouble. Luminara and Anakin had to trust each other to get through their side of the mission. The clones have to trust their commanders to lead them to victory. The masters had to trust that their Padawans were still alive. And finally, the Padawans had to trust that their masters would come rescue them. And that'll wrap up my breakdown of Weapons Factory. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe below for more Star Wars content every single day, and I will see you in the next video.